My name is Scott Tomko, and I am here to talk about the Reef AI. We named it the Reef AI because it really is artificial intelligence. Intelligence is being able to sense the world around you and make good decisions based on information you got in, and the Reef AI does a really good job of that. It does such a good job for a variety of reasons, first of which is what we call the Reef AI brain. It's a full desktop computer in this little box with a quad-core 1.7 gigahertz processor and 2 gigabytes of RAM. Everything plugs in USB, and you stick an Ethernet cable in it. It has an HDMI if you want to get into that. It is quite a powerful little machine. So in order to make intelligent decisions, you need the brain, and then you need sensors. We have a lot of different sensors. I'll go over these in stages. We have 3 different models of the Reef AI. There's the base model, the monitor, and then the next one up we call the Reef AI Core, and the next one is the Reef AI Prime. So I'll talk about the base one first, the Reef AI Monitor. It comes with a bunch of stuff for $250. You get a sump level sensor, which this is not your ordinary float switch. It's a capacitive level sensor. So it has these pads on the back that monitor your water level. It actually can tell how high up the water is in your tank, and so you can use it for auto top-offs because it'll see the water going down and then it'll fill it back up to where you want it to. You can use it for water changes. It has about 11 inches of sensing range, so in your sump you can have it drain your sump down to wherever and then fill it back up, and it'll pay attention. And it does a really good job. It's a really smart sensor. All our sensors are made with an Arduino on them, so a microcontroller that makes all the decisions for the board. It talks to the brain too, but nice to have intelligence all over. The capacitive sensing pads are used in industrial processes. They're really quite a thing, and they're the same thing that makes your touchscreens work. How it knows where your finger is. That's because there's water in your finger, and so this can tell where the water is because of that. We really like this sensor. It also has a temperature sensor on it because it's good to have temperature sensors around. So that is one of the things that comes with the Reef AI monitor. And another thing it comes with, get this to stick here. Another thing it comes with is a leak detector. You put this on the floor next to your tank, and if your tank leaks, you'll get a text or email alert that says you've got a problem, and go fix that. It's a common problem with aquariums. So nice to have it come with a leak sensor. No other controllers come with one standard, so we figured it's something everybody wishes they had. Why not include it? And then the next part is my favorite part. Well, I guess the whole thing is my favorite part, but this is pretty fancy. We call this the Sun Drop, and it's a solar-powered, fiber optically connected sensor that goes in your aquarium. We made it fiber optically connected so that you didn't have to have any big wires going into your tank. You know how like the Ecotech, Vortech pumps don't have a wire in your tank. It's nice to not have electricity going in. With these, you just have a little fiber optic that's magnetically connected and it clips on, and then you can hide the little fiber optic in your rock work or wherever to get out of your tank. And this has a lot of different sensors right on it. It has a temperature sensor, and it has a flow sensor. It's the world's first flow sensor that you can use in your aquarium. You put this by one of your corals or wherever you want, and you can put as many of these in your tank as you want. But it'll measure the water flow going past it, so you can try to match the coral to have the proper water flow that it has on the reef. Okay, so there's water flow and temperature, and it also has a PAR sensor, which is crazy because this whole thing, the Reef Ai monitor costs $250, and like an inexpensive par meter costs $350. So it's quite a deal. But so it monitors your par in real time as well as all the other things. And one of the things that I really like about it, we gave it a sensor so it knows if it's in the water or not. So one of the things that can happen when you're have an aquarium, the idea is to have success, right? To not have anything screw up, and a controller is a really good way to help you not have problems. But one thing, the most common way that your aquarium gets screwed up by mechanical failure is your heater overheating the tank and cooking everything. It happens to a lot of people, it's no good. But so then people buy a controller to control their heater so that it has a less likelihood of overheating the tank. And the only problem with that is sometimes the probe that monitors your water temperature falls out of the tank, and then it just is monitoring the air temperature. And say your room temperature is 75 degrees and your tank is supposed to be 80, the controller will keep heating up your tank, and the probe will keep saying it's 75 degrees because it's in the air, and it'll cook everything. It's a bad experience. But this probe, the sun drop, knows that it's out of the water. If you took it out for cleaning or whatever, if you forgot to put it back in, your cat knocks it out, whatever. So if it's not in the water, it won't tell your heater to turn on. Both of these temperature sensors on here and on our level sensor know whether or not they're in the water, so they can't turn on your heater if they're out of the tank. So it would be really hard to cook your tank if you had a Reef Ai. So I talked about how the most common way to kill your fish tank is to cook it with your heater, and the second most common way with mechanical issues is for your pump to turn off. So say your pump turns off, what happens is the water stops flowing clearly, and but the problem with that is your tank runs out of oxygen, because the way that the fish tank gets its oxygen is from the air-water boundary. The oxygen dissolves into the water, and if there isn't enough movement there, you don't get enough oxygen dissolving into the water, and then all your fish and corals suffocate and die, and it's a really horrible experience. But if you have a sun drop in your tank, it'll let you know that the flow has stopped, and then you can go and fix your pump, and it'll text you or email you, and then crisis averted. So if you do have a Reef Ai, it is so hard to kill your tank. No other controllers have any of these features. It has a battery in it, so it'll stay powered overnight, and we do sell a model that has no solar panel and just larger batteries that'll last 5 or 10 years. But you can put that one in a dark spot. It doesn't need light to charge it. And if it does ever wear out, you can send it back to us. We'll replace the batteries for free and give it back to you. Okay, on the other end of the fiber optic cable, one end goes on your sun drop, and the other end goes on this, which we call the fiber optic hub, and it has 5 spots for fiber optics to click into. And you can buy as many of these as you want and plug them in. I think USB, everything is USB, so you can have a maximum of like 120 some USB things. You just plug in USB hubs. So you could have, like 100 of these if you wanted, with 5 sun drops on each one. We're pretty excited about these. I like it. The magnets are pretty fancy. Okay, that's the sun drop. And then that sums up the Reef Ai monitor. Other than if you wanted to see what happens, you go to your iPad or Android or whatever you use, your computer, anything, and you log into the app, the web app, and then we have like an application that shows you your video. That's something I forgot. Every Reef AI monitor, all Reef AIs come with all this stuff, and one of the parts that I like the most that I didn't talk about was the HD webcam. All of them come with an HD webcam, and it just plugs into the brain with USB. The brain is it's like 1,000 times faster than any other Reef controller, so that's part of what helps it make such good decisions and be so reliable. But the webcam plugs in there like everything else, and it just works. You know, you plug it in, log into your app, and it'll show you the video on your computer. You can click it to get a large image if you want. It's 720p. It's nice video. This thing, it updates all the sensors every 5 seconds, where our closest competitor updates your charts and readings on their web app every 10 minutes. So it is a whole different thing. We spent just as much time on the software for this as we did the hardware. You can't see it, but you see it when you use it, and it just works so fast and flawlessly. We're very proud of it. It's all open source, and we like it. So, cool. Okay, that's layout. Put this over here. Still playing with the layout a little on the app, but and then what makes the core, the Reef AI core, different than the Reef AI monitor is, squishing stuff over here, the Reef AI core power bar, we call it, and we really like this. We put a lot of time into it. It's pretty fancy. They're 15 amp outlets, so you can use up to 15 amps on the whole thing or in one if you want, and they have solid state relays that turn on the outlets. They're all controllable through your web app. There's 2 different kinds of ways you can turn an outlet on or off that I know about. You can use electromechanical relays, which they have moving parts, and that's what's in your standard, like your Reef Keeper power bar, and the Apex Junior uses the electromechanical relays, and Reef Angel uses electromechanical relays, and they're not bad. They just happen to wear out, and solid state relay will never wear out. Also, the main reason we put it in is because they're soft start, so it gives electricity to your pumps and everything in a nice slow fashion. It's still really fast. It just doesn't blast them with power like electromechanical relays. It can hurt things. And the dimming feature is awesome. They're all dimmable. So if you plug in, say, one fancy thing we do with that is we have what we call an option for PID heating, which you can plug in your heater to the outlet that's labeled for your heater, and if you have a standard non-digital heater, you can have it turn on that heater to 50 watts or however many watts it is that keeps your tank at a constant temperature. It'll dim the heater, so it'll keep an eye on the temperature of your tank and keep your heater slightly dimmed to the exact right amount of wattage to keep your tank the exact temperature, so the temperature will stay perfectly even rather than heating up, until it gets to the set point and then cooling down until it gets to a lower set point and then up and down. So your tank stays a more constant temperature, and your heater isn't heating up and expanding and then cooling down and contracting. That screws stuff up. It's just the expansion and contraction and heating and cooling. It wears out things. That's a major reason for heater breakage. So your heater would last a lot longer if you did use our PID heating option. And these come preset with ones for your heater, one's for your return pump, one's for your lights, and the other one's for auto top off. You can go in the web app and adjust all those things if you want, but we have them preset so it's easy and they're labeled. And other features of the Reef AI core power bar are, it comes with a pH probe port, and you get the pH probe too. It's an analytical one for, what do you call it, for like scientists. It's the more expensive kind, but it takes really nice measurements. and it comes with that for $350. You get everything I've talked about so far. And the circuit, I designed all these circuits. It's funny, you look at it and you can, like, oh, there's a relay, oh, there's a capacitor. Way too much time went into this, but it was enjoyable learning about it. But we made the circuit for your pH readings really nice. It's galvanically isolated, so which helped to take the best readings. And yeah, that's the pH probe, very nice. And then it has a port for 0 to 10 volt outlets, or outputs. Those you use to turn your LED lights brighter or darker. A lot of LEDs are controllable, and a lot of T5s you can send them a 0 to 10 volt signal, and 0 volts is off, and 5 volts is 50% power, and 10 volts is all the way on. 1 second. Sorry about that. So you can use the 0 to 10 volt outputs for controlling lights, or a lot of pumps use those, like Tunzies and other power heads. You can control how hard they're pushing. And you can wave them up and down and do all that fancy control with that. So that's our Reef Ai Core Power Bar. All this stuff is all made in the USA. We make it. We laser cut the boxes. And design all the circuits and put everything together. We tried really hard to make this the nicest reef controller you can buy. There's a lot of different things I can talk about. It's funny, but we had a fish farm before this, and Greg, my brother, made this system to keep an eye on our fish farm. Because we had like 20,000 fish at any given time in the fish farm. There's thousands of gallons of salt water. We do clownfish. And you want everything to stay alive all the time. You can lose thousands of dollars really fast if things die. And we had no mechanically killed fish. This kept such a good eye on everything and would text us or email us when there were any problems. So we thought, well, we should let everybody else have one too, you know? So we made the Reef Ai. And then the next model is the Reef Ai Prime, that's our most expensive model. It's $550, and it comes with a bunch of extra stuff. I don't have all the boxes made for these things yet, but one difference is instead of the 4 power bar, it comes with a 10 outlet power bar. So you can control more things, and that one has an amp meter on it, so it measures how much wattage it's using. And then it has a lot of extra features. It has all these things that you've seen so far, but it also comes with a humidity meter, which measures your air humidity, relative humidity, and temperature. It's really accurate. It's accurate to about 1% for its lifetime, so a very nice thing here, especially if you have a big fish farm or a fish room, or even just a fish tank and you wanted to control an exhaust fan to keep your house from getting moldy, or if you want to turn on your dehumidifier or whatever, or just keep an eye on your relative humidity in your room. So that's one of the features of the Reef Ai Prime, and you can buy any of this stuff and just add it on to one of the previous models too. It's all based on the Reef Ai brain, and you can plug any parts of anything in. You get a little discount if you buy the packages, the monitor, the core, or the Prime, but if you want to buy a monitor and upgrade to the Prime later, you just add in the parts that you didn't have. And then other parts that the Prime has comes with a button box. These are all USB connected. All our probes and everything are USB connected, and they all run on an Arduino. So they're all open source and programmable. But you can set these buttons to do whatever you want. You can you can put it next to your fish tank, so it's easy to get at. And say you don't want to have to go to your web app to do a feeding mode or something. You can go and push the button, and it'll turn on your feeding mode. It'll blink lights to let you know that notice that you push the button, and it'll do all those things for you. And you can go in and change what they do if you want. Other things it comes with, well, this is half of our skimmer cup level sensor. The other half goes over here, say on your skimmer cup, and it measures how full your skimmer cup is. So nobody else has one of these either. A lot of this stuff is pretty new, but a lot of times people's skimmer cup, it'll overflow if something weird happens, and then it'll dump that skimming in your tank and really screw things up. Or if you have or if you have like your skimming cup drilled to an outside overflow, it'll drain your tank if it's just pouring water through it. So this will let you know if your skimmer cup has gotten too full, and you can have it turn it off or just text you or whatever you want. And then you don't have to go and look at your skimmer cup. I wonder how full it is. It'll just show you on the web app how full your skimmer cup is. And you can actually tell with the historical graphs how well your skimmer is performing relative to how well it performed previously. That's one nice thing about the Reef AI, because it's a whole computer with gigabytes of storage. You can store your historical data forever, and other Reef controllers do not do that. So that is quite a feature. The skimmer cup level sensor. And another thing that comes with it is this thing. It doesn't look like much. It's got some USB ports, but this lets you plug in any Reef Angel expansion. Reef Angel is another open source controller, and we work with them because it's open source. People usually work together. It's a pretty friendly thing. If you want to work on anything with this or change things, you're totally welcome to. And then this was how we actually got into the idea of controllers. We bought a Reef Angel, but wanted one with a little more power, so we made the Reef AI. But we had expansions for this, like we had the RF expansion, which lets you control your Ecotech lights and Vortex power heads, and that you can just plug right in here. And on the web app, you can program your Ecotech lights or Vortex through the Reef AI. And they have dosing pumps and all different kinds of things. Reef Angel does. You plug them in, they work. Their system's based on Arduino also. So within it's also open source and adjustable and all that. So that was one of my favorite parts too. I have a lot of favorite parts. And then there's a couple boards I don't have with me right now, but it has a lighting hub that'll let you control fancy lights like this ACAN light through a serial connection. And there's a couple other lights that use fancy connections, and the lighting hub will do those, as well as 0 to 10 volt outputs and PWM. And then there's also another box called, what do we call it? I think it's the probe hub, which you can plug in. It has 2 pH ports, or the pH or ORP. You put in whichever you want. It'll come with a pH probe, but you buy like the ORP or the salinity probe separate. Comes with a salinity port or TDS. Either one, they both read the same thing, so you can either plug in a salinity probe or a TDS probe to it. And what else does it come with? Well, we have a lot of different things that you can plug into this. This is a Reef AI Arduino, and you can plug in any Arduino into the Reef AI, but this is the board we sell for it, and you can go and make your own sensor if you want. Program it and have it measure, if your dog's barking, whatever you want. It works with the Reef AI. And then this is one we're in development for. It's a smoke alarm, but it's a smoke alarm, a carbon monoxide meter, and a flammable gas meter. So you can just keep an eye on your house, make sure everything's safe. We should have this ready for the Kickstarter, but can't guarantee it. And I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff, a lot of things. The web app is crazy with its 5-second updates. We actually use the same software that the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland there, on the border of Switzerland and France, I think. The biggest particle accelerator in the world. They're upgrading their mainframes, their supercomputers, to use the same software we use to pass the data from the Arduinos to the brain to your computer. So it is extremely reliable. That is the thing that was most important for us was reliability, because we wanted to keep all our fish alive all the time. So we did that. We had a completely reliable system, and we thought we'd add on some really fancy things that nobody else has made. Like, why doesn't somebody have a fiber optic par meter? And why isn't there a flow meter you can get for your tank? Why don't they have capacitive level sensors for your sump? We thought these things should exist, and we decided to make the Reef AI and host a Kickstarter starting at the end of August. And if you want one of these, you can buy one. We'll be at MACNA this year in Colorado. Come see us there. It'll be exciting. We'll post videos about that too. But that's about all I have to say about that for now. We'll do more videos soon.